Oh, cringe, Kinsey, as if the whole episode couldn't get a lot worse.
Bullying file this thick at Buckingham Palace.
Really beloved in Australia. So obviously Meghan decided to hate her and decide that she's a real bitch. And she totally castigated Poe behind the scenes.
Meghan raised holy fucking hell.
One of the judges, I think she was mocking Meghan.
You'll remember the Sandringham summit was absolutely adamant in the fact that Meghan was not able to commercialize aspects of the British royal family. Yet my understanding, Meghan, is she's been paid for this MasterChef Australia experience. She wasn't doing this for altruistic reasons. She's not donating her fee to a charity. This is straight money in her pocket, and yet she used her Duchess title within it. So that is...
She has an entire brand, guys, about cooking items. They even call it artisanal kitchen items. And you watched her on this show, and I am absolutely 100% positive Meghan Markle does not cook at home. She does not. Nor does she know anything about hosting. Because one of the comments she made about hosting, all I can think of is, honey, you never host. You have an army of people in the kitchen doing the work for you. You're not doing the work.
What was supposed to be Meghan Markle's smooth television comeback may have ended up raising even more questions than it answered. MasterChef looked like the perfect place to rebuild her image, with every scene carefully polished to showcase confidence, charm, and effortless elegance. But as the episode unfolded, small cracks began to appear, and once viewers noticed them, they became impossible to ignore. The more closely people watched, the more they started asking whether everything on screen was as natural as it seemed. From the opening moments, everything felt carefully arranged. The applause landed at the right time. The music pushed every emotional beat. Smiling contestants filled the screen. And even a surprise phone call from Prince Harry arrived at what seemed like the perfect moment.
As you get through the show, I couldn't help but see, especially one of the judges, I think she was mocking Meghan. I think she was very, very subtly twisting what Meghan's PR team told them to do, keeping referring to her as the Duchess, and called her out for obviously being so incredibly fake when attempting to try things and tell somebody it was good, because Meghan cannot act. You can almost feel her PR team whispering in their ear, telling them how much they have to praise her for her obvious, very mediocre, absolute amateur, so unworthy of this competition skills that it actually boggles the mind.
Okay, any MasterChef, their other half, and say, well, I just think, could my other half just ring in and say hi to me while I'm a guest on this program? That is just...
Every camera angle, every conversation, and every reaction appeared designed to present Meghan as relaxed, welcoming, and completely at home in the kitchen. Yet beneath that polished presentation, several moments quietly hinted that things were not unfolding as smoothly as the final edit wanted viewers to believe. Everything looked controlled. Everything sounded rehearsed. Everything appeared carefully crafted to make Meghan seem confident, warm, and completely at ease in the kitchen. But the more she spoke, the more unusual the conversation became. Today, we are breaking down the moments the final broadcast could not hide. The answers that seemed to fall apart under even the simplest questions. The awkward exchanges that left the experienced judges stepping in to keep the conversation moving. Then there was the missing footage. That missing material may help explain why parts of Meghan's appearance were quietly removed before the episode finally reached television. This was supposed to be flawless promotion. Meghan did not arrive on MasterChef as just another celebrity guest. She came in representing a lifestyle brand, a food business, premium jars, tea, honey, gift boxes, and an entire public image centered around effortless cooking and elegant entertaining. The kitchen should have been the safest place for her to shine. Instead,
can I ask you, please, Meghan, what is your favorite dish to cook for the family?
That's a tough one. It's a tough one because I have a lot of palates to appease.
She don't cook.
I'm sorry.
She don't cook.
It's weird. Even like I don't cook, but I've got like my 5 go-tos as a mother of 3 children that, you know, I will cook. If you ask me that, my answer would be lasagna. Everybody loves it. I've learned how to cook it. It's a crowd pleaser. Why can't she name the favorite meal? I've got a lot of palates to appease. So does every mother on earth. What are you saying? Of course, obviously you have more than one child. You do.
One basic question almost pulled the curtain back on the entire performance. Meghan was simply asked to name her favorite dish to cook for her family. That was all. No mystery box, no complicated technique, no pressure test. She did not even have to prepare the meal. She only had to name one dish. Meghan replied that it was a difficult question because she had several different palates to satisfy. She then listed preferences instead. Harry enjoys meat, potatoes, and creamy sauces. She prefers grilled fish, grilled meat, citrus, herbs, spices, and a little heat. But she never actually named the dish. Not one specific meal. No curry, no pasta, no roast, no family recipe, no simple dinner everyone keeps requesting over and over again.
Conveniently interrupted by a call from her husband. You've been on active sets. How often do they tell you to turn your cell phone off or have it on vibrate or put it on airplane mode when you are on a live set? And Meghan Markle, who's supposed to be the queen of Suits, are you telling me she didn't know when to have her cell phone on?
When these outlets are going to learn that the stink of La Markle is very hard, it's more difficult. It's a more difficult odor to remove than that of a skunk spraying you. Okay.
Cook something fit for a duchess. Well, I didn't think she wanted to be known as anything royal. So
No,
once
she
again,
does. She wants to be Duchess of Sussex, but she feigned disdain for the royalty line. You know, we're used to having royalty in the kitchen, but this is, a whole other level, something along the lines of that.
The question was straightforward, but the response turned into a cloud of ingredients, lifestyle phrases, and broad descriptions that sounded polished without giving a clear answer. Then the conversation shifted toward how Australians pronounce the word herbs. That change of topic felt almost too convenient. Talking about pronunciation was much safer than admitting she could not give one direct answer to the easiest cooking question of the entire episode. And this matters because Meghan is not merely claiming she enjoys food. Building a brand around food means asking people to believe you understand it. Meghan is not simply promoting products. She's inviting customers to trust her taste, her judgment, and the lifestyle she presents. That makes every public cooking appearance far more important than a typical celebrity guest spot.
I think anyone would have to be a little foolish to think that she didn't know that Harry was going to be calling in. The timing was immaculate, that she should happen to be taste testing those contestants' dishes right as he called, and a crew member.
Global icon, which Meghan Markle is not. She is not a global icon. In her mind, maybe, but not really. Catherine's a global icon. Meghan Markle is not, because Meghan Markle, to me, to be an icon, you actually need to be well-liked and successful and accomplished, and Meghan Markle is none of those things. So she can't be an icon. She's not a philanthropist. She hardly does charity work, and she basically does charity work for the good feels of it, in terms of her good feels. She also is not a humanitarian, because everything serves Meghan Markle.
Her image is built around ingredients, hospitality, family meals, and the relaxed joy of bringing people together around a table. Yet when MasterChef handed her a massive international stage to demonstrate that image with one clear example, her response leaned toward descriptions instead of specifics. She offered words like fresh, natural, seasonal, playful, and balanced. Those are polished phrases that fit perfectly on product packaging. They are not the name of a meal sitting on the dinner table. The same pattern returned when Meghan was asked what she would personally prepare using the ingredients placed before the contestants. Once again, she had the chance to take control of the conversation. Earlier, she had spoken about creativity. She encouraged the cooks to choose a hero ingredient. She had also urged them to build a story and create something meaningful. Then, she looked over the ingredients and suggested carrot top pesto. Pesto once again. She mentioned pasta, then possibly fish. After that, even more possibilities started piling up all at once. The answer kept growing in different directions until one of the hosts finally stepped in with so many things, almost finishing the thought on her behalf. That brief moment ended up revealing more than any dramatic confrontation could have. The guest was expected to inspire confident, professional-level cooking. Instead, the experienced host seemed to help guide the conversation back on track. After the answer wandered, it was a small exchange, but one that quickly caught the attention of many viewers watching closely. Meghan's strongest language rarely focused on cooking techniques. Instead, it centered on presentation and branding. She spoke about having a hero item. She emphasized nostalgia. She highlighted the value of a personal story. That style of language works extremely well during a marketing discussion. It can make a simple jar feel premium. It can make a gift basket seem thoughtful and unique. It can transform everyday products into part of a carefully crafted lifestyle image. But MasterChef contestants cannot present a story without also presenting a well-executed dish. They were racing against the clock while carefully managing heat, texture, acidity, sweetness, timing, and presentation. What they needed most was practical, useful feedback, rather than broad reflections about memories and emotion. That difference became increasingly clear once the experienced judges took over the discussion. They focused on technique. They pointed out what worked. The experienced judges did more than praise the dishes. They explained exactly where things worked and where they fell short. They could tell a contestant how the flavors connected to personal memories, identify where the concept succeeded, and point out what could have been improved. Their feedback felt detailed, confident, and rooted in genuine culinary experience. Meghan, by comparison, usually remained in the safest possible territory: beautiful, interesting, meaningful, creative, bold, pleasant. Those were the kinds of words that came up repeatedly. They sounded encouraging, but they rarely ventured into specific cooking techniques or detailed observations. At one point, she asked a contestant preparing a highly complex dessert whether he was thinking about different textures and flavors. He was standing in the MasterChef kitchen, creating a competition-level dessert. Naturally, textures and flavors were already central to what he was doing. The question sounded less like expert guidance and more like a conversational prompt included to keep Meghan involved while the serious cooking continued around her. It was a brief moment, yet it stood out because of how obvious the answer already seemed. Then came an exchange that drew many viewers' attention away from the food and toward Meghan's reaction. One of the hosts offered a contestant thoughtful feedback about his Malaysian heritage. She explained how his background came through on the plate and why that emotional connection strengthened the dish. Meghan sat beside her and became noticeably quieter. Some viewers saw nothing unusual and believed she was simply listening carefully. Others interpreted her expression differently, suggesting it became more reserved as the experienced food expert naturally carried the discussion without needing a lengthy introduction or a high-profile reputation. Whatever Meghan may have been thinking, the contrast between the two speaking styles became difficult for many viewers to ignore. The host never had to remind anyone that she belonged in that kitchen. Her knowledge spoke for itself. Meghan, meanwhile, seemed to rely more heavily on the episode, continually reinforcing why she was there. The introduction celebrated her. The contestants complimented her. The challenge centered on her. The dishes were prepared for her. Even the kitchen slogan became, "Make it sparkle," for Meghan Markle. After a while, it began to feel less like a traditional MasterChef guest appearance. Instead, it started resembling a promotional showcase where nearly everyone in the room seemed focused on highlighting Meghan's importance. One contestant even told Meghan that he was shaping his idea around her and wanted to create something inspired by California. Meghan responded that she loved hearing he was thinking about her. That response caught the attention of some viewers because the entire challenge was already centered on her. From the very beginning, the contestants had been cooking for Meghan. From that point on, the spotlight seemed to circle back to Meghan again and again. The ingredients reflected Meghan. The judges were discussing Meghan. The cameras kept returning to Meghan. Even when a contestant was battling to stay in the competition, the conversation shifted back to how much attention he was giving Meghan. She had the opportunity to redirect the focus toward the contestant. She could have asked about his inspiration, his cooking journey, or why the dish meant something to him. Instead, the praise found its way back to her. Then, Meghan turned one of the simplest parts of the challenge into another extended moment centered around herself. Normally, someone calls out the remaining time to the entire kitchen. The contestants hear it, feel the pressure for a second, and immediately get back to cooking. Meghan explained that she did not like shouting. So instead, she walked around the room and personally told every contestant that 30 minutes remained. Stopping at each station, one by one, she approached every bench, made eye contact, delivered the countdown, paused for a response, and reminded each contestant that she wanted to tell them personally. Meanwhile, they were chopping vegetables, stirring sauces, checking temperatures, and racing against the clock. Even so, they paused to look at Meghan, smile politely, respond to her, and take part in a brief one-on-one exchange while precious minutes continued slipping away. The episode presented it as a charming moment. One person joked that it was the most elegant time announcement imaginable. Another compared the scene to ASMR. Yet beneath the humor, some viewers noticed something different. Meghan did not simply carry out an ordinary task. The moment became softer, more personal, more refined, more memorable, and once again centered around her. A quick announcement to the whole kitchen would have lasted only seconds. Her version became an entire sequence that occupied far more screen time. The episode continued following that same pattern. Routine moments gradually became Meghan moments. Contestants increasingly felt like supporting characters. The cooking competition itself seemed to double as a showcase for her public image. Then the banana bread made its appearance. One of the hosts baked banana bread for Meghan, connecting it to the loaf she famously brought during an earlier visit to Australia. On paper, it seemed like it should have been an easy, warm, and memorable exchange. Meghan tasted it, but her initial reaction appeared more restrained than many viewers expected. Her expression briefly tightened. There was no immediate broad smile or instant excitement to match the enthusiastic tone that had surrounded much of the episode. A short time later, she asked for the recipe. Perhaps she was simply concentrating. Perhaps the flavor caught her by surprise. Whatever the reason, it became another moment that sparked discussion among viewers watching closely. What made this moment stand out was not what Meghan said, but what her expression seemed to reveal. A reaction lasting only a split second quickly became one of the most discussed parts of the episode because it appeared unplanned. Some viewers may have been reading too much into it, while others believed it briefly showed a genuine response before the polished television persona returned. Whatever the interpretation, it caught attention precisely because it did not look carefully staged. It is also worth remembering that this was not raw, unedited footage. The audience was watching the finished broadcast after producers had already reviewed every camera angle, trimmed conversations, shortened pauses, rearranged reaction shots, added music, and carefully selected the version they wanted viewers to see. Television editors can soften weak moments. They can replace an awkward reaction with a smile captured from another angle. They can remove uncomfortable silence. They can tighten long answers that drift away from the original question. They can surround a guest with applause, upbeat music, and encouraging reactions until the appearance feels smooth and successful. Yet even after all of that, the final broadcast still showed Meghan avoiding a straightforward question about her favorite family dinner, struggling to explain what she would cook, returning once again to pesto, offering broad feedback instead of specific observations, and turning a simple time announcement into a personal walk around the kitchen. That is exactly why the unseen footage has become such an interesting part of the discussion. If this represented the strongest version of the appearance, it naturally raises questions about what may have been left on the cutting room floor. How much longer were the original pauses? How many answers were shortened before making it into the final episode? How many uncertain moments were covered by smiling contestants or carefully timed reaction shots? How often were comments from the experienced judges placed around Meghan's contributions to help maintain the pace of the conversation. At several points, the finished episode felt less like a straightforward guest appearance and more like a carefully polished television production designed to keep everything moving smoothly. That contrast is what many viewers found so revealing. Meghan was not facing an aggressive interview or a hostile audience. She appeared alongside welcoming hosts, flattering lighting, carefully guided questions, and contestants who had every reason to remain respectful and polite throughout the challenge. There was no surprise ingredient meant to catch her off guard, no technical test requiring her to prove advanced culinary skills, no expert demanding an immediate demonstration. The environment seemed designed to make the experience as comfortable as possible. Even so, moments of hesitation, broad answers, and instances where the experienced judges naturally carried the conversation still remained visible. That contrast became the central talking point. If a guest still appears uncertain while everyone around them is encouraging, supporting, and guiding the discussion, it becomes difficult to argue that pressure alone explains those moments. Instead, some viewers concluded that the public image being presented appeared more polished than the expertise being demonstrated, and even careful editing could not completely bridge that difference. Not because Meghan experienced one dramatic on-camera disaster, but because a series of smaller moments continued appearing throughout the episode. The image suggested an experienced host. The responses leaned toward branding language. The image suggested a passionate home cook. What many viewers kept waiting for were the specific details, yet those details never seemed to arrive. The image being presented suggested effortless confidence and natural expertise. The production itself also worked hard to create that same feeling, carefully arranging each scene so everything appeared smooth and spontaneous. Then, just as Meghan was tasting food, Prince Harry suddenly appeared. A crew member walked into the set carrying a phone while Meghan was sampling one of the dishes. Harry appeared on FaceTime. Meghan smiled and greeted him with, "Hi, my love," and the contestants reacted as though an unexpected royal surprise had suddenly arrived in the middle of the MasterChef kitchen. The timing immediately caught the attention of many viewers because it seemed almost perfectly synchronized. Television productions rarely operate like ordinary family kitchens. Phones are coordinated, cameras have assigned positions, audio teams need clean sound. Producers know where everyone is expected to stand before important moments are filmed. A crew member generally does not step into the middle of a tasting carrying a phone unless the production team already knows what is about to happen. Harry called while Meghan was already in position. The contestants were gathered together. The cameras were rolling. The phone was physically brought into the scene, yet viewers were invited to experience the moment as though it had happened completely by chance. That is one reason many people later described the sequence as awkward. To them, it appeared carefully planned rather than genuinely spontaneous. More importantly, Harry's appearance shifted the conversation almost instantly. Questions about Meghan's food knowledge faded into the background because attention immediately moved elsewhere. The contestants were now waving at a prince. The episode suddenly had a Sussex family moment. Meghan was no longer simply a lifestyle guest trying to establish credibility inside a professional kitchen. Instead, she became the Duchess, speaking with Prince Harry on national television. The FaceTime call functioned almost like a reset button, highlighting a contrast that some viewers believed had been running throughout the entire episode. Meghan was presented as an independent entrepreneur and lifestyle figure, yet one of the biggest moments depended on the royal connection that continues to attract worldwide attention. The appearance aimed to showcase her personal expertise, but one of the loudest reactions of the episode came when Harry appeared on a phone screen. The kitchen was meant to strengthen her food-focused identity, yet the conversation repeatedly circled back to her royal identity instead. For some critics, those two messages competed with one another rather than working together. There was also a practical business question raised after the broadcast. Some commentators pointed out that Meghan's products were not widely available to Australian customers when the episode aired. That meant viewers could watch an international lifestyle brand being promoted while many local audiences had limited access to the products themselves. Once again, some observers felt the publicity arrived before the wider business rollout was fully in place. The strategy appeared familiar to those critics. Generate headlines first, create international attention, allow the broader distribution to catch up later. Meghan also described herself as a major MasterChef fan. When asked about the program, she replied, "Of course, who isn't a MasterChef fan?" and said she felt honored to be part of the show. However, when she was invited to choose between the Australian and American versions of MasterChef, she decided not to pick one. That may simply have been a diplomatic choice. It also happened to be the safest possible response for someone who did not want to reveal how closely she followed either version of the show. That same careful pattern appeared throughout the episode. Do not name a favorite family meal. Name broad categories. Do not offer detailed technical criticism. Say the food is meaningful. Do not choose between different versions. Praise them both. Do not shout the remaining time. Turn it into a personal moment. Do not let the episode stay focused only on cooking. Bring in Harry. Then, near the end, came the moment that was reportedly changed before broadcast. Promotional material had reportedly introduced Meghan using the word royalty. When the full episode aired, that word was gone. Instead, it was replaced with a lengthy introduction describing Meghan as a global icon, philanthropist, humanitarian, business owner, and someone known for her love of home cooking. The original word disappeared, but the praise became even bigger. That decision raises questions because it suggests someone cared about the exact wording. The show still referred to her as the Duchess of Sussex. Harry appeared on screen, and royal connections helped make the episode feel special. Yet the word royalty was reportedly removed. Reports also claimed the host who used that description became deeply upset and was allegedly brought to tears. According to those reports, production handled the situation. There is no publicly available footage confirming what happened behind the scenes, so those claims remain allegations. What is clear is that the word reportedly appeared in promotional material but was absent from the final broadcast. That means the production was willing to change the finished episode. Once viewers noticed one disputed moment was reportedly removed, it naturally raised questions about other edits throughout the program. MasterChef was supposed to strengthen Meghan's lifestyle image. Instead, for some viewers, it highlighted how carefully that image appeared to be managed. The introduction was grand. The questions stayed gentle. The contestants continued praising her. The experienced judges carried much of the technical discussion. Harry appeared at what many felt was the perfect moment. It looked less like a natural kitchen appearance and more like a carefully managed television production. Even so, the biggest question remained. Meghan stepped into the MasterChef kitchen, hoping to reinforce her place in the food world. But for many viewers, the episode instead raised new questions about that image. What do you think? Did the producers protect Meghan by removing the most uncomfortable footage, or did the polished edit make the entire appearance seem even more carefully managed? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to this channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next discussion.